Hello and welcome to City Club of Chicago, coming at you live from the Blue Room in the Chicago Firehouse Restaurant. I'm Dan Gibbons, and it is my honor to be joined here by the one and only Mayor Lori Lightfoot. Welcome back to City Club, Mayor Lightfoot. So we are here during convention week, and this new initiative for City Club is in conjunction with U.S. Conference of Mayors and WVON Radio. And what we've been doing, Mayor, is taking advantage of all these amazing people that are here in town, coming through, looking to learn a bit about Chicago and also share some of their stories. And we fortunately have been able to bring in a number of local leaders as well and get some thoughts on what's going on, not just today and this week, but really anyone that's sat in this chair has an incredible story. They've been a leader in some sector, whether it be government or entrepreneurship or philanthropy, but also, of course, with an emphasis on public service and especially mayors, given our partnership with the U.S. Conference of Mayors. So just a little bit of background on what we're doing here and also using this great opportunity that, by the way, you brought to us. We'll get into that, and turning it into this is sort of a trial run for a podcast that City Club is going to do to help elevate the stories of people who are doing great things. Awesome. So that's a little bit about us and why we're here. Let's talk about you. How are you?
I'm good. Survived this summer and hopefully surviving this week. My voice is a little hoarse because I've been doing a lot of talking, a lot of just seeing people. It occurred to me the other day that this is the first in-person convention in 8 years.
Yeah.
And people are very happy to be back together.
So I referenced earlier that you brought us this opportunity. You did. You got this convention here, right? You, Governor Pritzker, Senator Duckworth, Senator Durbin, I know probably the most for how long? You worked pretty hard to get this here.
Well, really the idea came from Senator Duckworth. As you know, she's the vice chair of the National Democratic Party, and she reached out and said they're going to be taking bids for the 2024 convention. This is probably 2+ years ago. What do you think? Should we try for Chicago? And I said, yeah, why not? Let's do it. And as you know, we started talking to the folks that put on the convention in 1996. Took a while to get the big package, but we took it apart, divided and conquered, and I think put together a very, very robust bid that not only talked about, can we do this? There's no question that Chicago can put on large-scale international events. We do that on the regular. The challenge was convincing folks that we could do it, and also just energizing people. This has to be a public-private partnership. We needed the United Center. We needed McCormick Place. We needed the hotels and the restaurants. And we were also mindful of what's going to be the impact on transportation resources. Can we pull that together? But we wanted to make sure that people from the neighborhoods actually benefited and not just the downtown. So that was a big part of our kind of ethos going into putting together this bid and really demonstrating to the DNC and the committee that was doing the site evaluations that we had the bona fides to be able to do this, and that it would benefit not only them from seeing the mosaic of America that Chicago is, but my view then and now is no one wins in November, and particularly not a Democrat, without winning in the Midwest. And Chicago is the epicenter of the Midwest.
Absolutely. And here we are now on day 4. So fast forward a bit, day 4, and it's so far so good, right?
Yeah.
It's been an incredible experience. And what I do appreciate so much is that it is reaching into the neighborhoods.
Yes.
And it is. I mean, even just our partnership here at City Club with Next Stop Chicago and, Abby Pucker and the Green Line, there's this incredible, host of installations where she was able to get some funding for different artists and people that are doing great things along the Green Line. And we were getting all these amazing folks to go and see it. And that's going to be lasting infrastructure, too. That was all your initiative to really start pushing this as something that will last beyond having a week of interesting people here and actually be good for the communities.
Well, look, I also want to make sure that we give Mayor Daley his credit. When convention came here in 1996, I watched very carefully, as an outsider. I wasn't part of city government at that point. But what the city was doing to kind of make sure that it was reaching into neighborhoods, doing the beautification efforts, and really extending the opportunities outside of the four walls of the United Center. So we had that certainly in our heads as we started to put together, how do you operationalize the city? How do you activate the resources that are here so people are experiencing it? It's more than just what's the bus route from the hotel to McCormick Place or to the United Center. You really did want to make sure that people were understanding the greatness of the city, because that's a love letter to our city. They're going to go home. They're going to take that back with them. I've run into so many people just these last few days who said, you know what, I've never been to Chicago before, and had this idea in their head. I'm like, yeah, it's not the Fox News version of a hellscape. Tell no
Nonpartisan, non-biased, but I think that might be the first mention of Fox News at the City Club of Chicago.
But, people are saying, I look at your lake, it feels like it's an ocean. I'm like, this is a great, great global city. And people are experiencing that firsthand from all corners of our country. And it's a beautiful thing.
I think that, NASCAR, which you brought here to Chicago, these, the pandemic was a really rough time for everybody, right? For the whole world, especially for this city. And I said, and it's not just about the events, it's all the ancillary things that happen around them. But NASCAR and then leading into the DNC, we're back.
Yeah.
We're back as a city, and there's so many great things. You may have overheard a couple of other conversations that we've had here. We've had some young entrepreneurs come in at Bronzeville Winery. The owner of Bronzeville Winery is here. Blacks and Green. We got Ida's Ice Cream. We've got so many great people that are doing great things. The city, we have a long way to go, right? We have a lot of work to do, but we're back. And I think these two events really helped push us, even internally, Chicago, onto this stage to show off all the great things.
I'm going to throw in another one because the C3 guys would say, what about Lolla?
There you go.
Right? 4 days, 110,000 people from all over the world coming to our city to enjoy not only the incredible music that's on the various stages that Lolla presents, but again, being in our restaurants, being in our hotels, really enjoying and taking in what is so great about Chicago. We know how to do this. We know how to shine our city and really show the best of who we are.
All right, so the best of who we are, that's something that we're, that I keep mentioning that we're focused on, identifying the best of who Chicago is and elevating that and using our platform to further that. And you're doing a lot of that too. And you're
doing a great job.
Oh, thank you.
I really sincerely mean that. You can clap. That's good. Because it's true.
But there's an applause button on this too. Oh, the crowd just got a lot bigger.
No, we've talked about this, but I think what the City Club is doing now to bring in voices that never, ever, ever would have previously been in the spotlight, and opening that up to the so-called movers and shakers who think that they know everything about the important stuff in Chicago, bringing in these voices that are out there doing the work like Blacks and Green and other folks. It's really important for the City Club audience to recognize and see all the things that are going on in our city. And you guys have just really, I think, been knocking it out of the park. So I'm going to give you your credit. And
thank you. I'm hoping that record button worked for that soundbite, Mayor. You've been so good to us, and we appreciate it. But enough about us. Really, back to you. You left office, and you said, I'm going to go help nonprofits who may not have the resources or the connections, or it's not just the money, it's not just the funding, but it's right. The connections too, the legal. And I understand it as that, where you're helping connect some of the dots there, and you just do that as a person. But I believe that's something you're doing now a little more formally. Is that right?
Yeah. So we started a not-for-profit ourselves called Chicago Vibrant Neighborhoods Collective. We had our launch at City Club.
Yes.
Back in January. And really our goal is, and our working thesis is this. There are a couple different ways in which you can really, I think, get to the heart of what's going on in neighborhoods and help them be vibrant and strong. And not-for-profits, in my view, play a critically important role in making that happen. What we found, though, is a lot of these not-for-profits coming out of COVID were really stretched thin. Stretched thin for resources, for people, but also historically, they have not been able to get the resources they needed to build strong internal foundations. So our idea was, let's act as the consultants for these not-for-profits, help them with the basics, budgeting, finance, data collection, data analytics, looking at ways in which they can strengthen their HR policies, board recruitment, succession planning, and coming up with alternative sources of revenue. We knew this, having really worked hand in glove with a lot of these organizations during my term, but we also then spent last summer really going back and reassuring ourselves that our working thesis was right. We got a lot of tremendous feedback from organizations of all sizes all across the city who the common thread was telling us, yes, please help us do this work. So it hasn't been easy. There's not a linear path, but it's been incredibly rewarding. We've learned a lot already. We're working with our first group of clients, and our hope is to expand the offerings and the resources, God willing, and frankly, our money comes in that we're going to be able to even enhance and expand upon the clients that we're helping across the city. But there is a great need. I talk about this everywhere I go in various cities, and people are saying, okay, well, tell us how you're doing it, because we want to replicate this work in our cities. So it's good stuff.
Well, and you said it's not easy, but what it is doing is making it easier for others, right?
Yes.
And I think by doing that, you're able to also just inspire people. It's okay to go out on a limb. It's okay to go try this thing out that you're passionate about, and identifying those people and then inspiring them. And just you alone being who you are and accomplishing what you have accomplished is inspiring to so many, especially young people. So thank you for that. I don't know if I ever told you this, but my boys James and Alex, and we read a book, The Little Blue Truck, this was every day, I think 7 times a day at one point, where we go through the book, the little blue truck, and he's in a big city, and the little blue truck is beep beep beeping, and the garbage truck comes by, and the taxi comes by, and then a big black limousine comes by, and it's the mayor. It's the mayor inside, and it's rhyming, and I couldn't give you the whole thing, but then the next page, the mayor gets out, gets on his car, and gives a speech. And James, at the time, my 4-year-old said, "That's not the mayor. The mayor's a girl." And I just said that, you know what? You've changed, you've done so much to change people's understanding of what you can do in life, what you can do in this city. And now you're going to help young people do that too. And it's not just young people. There are other people that need just a little bit of boost, a little bit of inspiration, and you certainly deliver on that.
Well, look, I recognize the value of my presence in certain spaces. And what I also want to do with this, aside from all the things that you said, which I agree with 100%, is demonstrate to philanthropy, to corporate givers, to individual donors, that there's a lot of good stuff happening in our neighborhoods, and you need to be part of that. I hear all the time, well, we don't know where to start. We don't know who to give. Well, I'm helping, hopefully, lead people to water and helping them take a sip, right? I want them to continue to give to these communities that have been left without resources for way too long. Frankly, I want to take away the excuses of we don't know. No, I can point you right in the right direction on how to do that and make it happen.
And I hope to also take away some of those barriers that we don't know, or the city won't respond, or the red tape is too much. It's just there are ways to get things done. We are the city that works. We always will be. And there's so much more good to come.
No, 100%. And, look, we are a great city. Yeah. And we are a great city of neighborhoods. And we're a great city of the incredibly diverse, caring people. And I don't want us to ever lose sight of that.
Well, thanks for helping get us to that point. Thanks for helping us get on the right track as a city. Like I said, there's a lot of work to do, but as long as people like you are committed to continuing that work, we at City Club are certainly committed to doing that. And when you get them to lead them to water and get some hydration there, send them our way, because we want to then tell their stories of who's doing what and how they got there, and inspire perhaps one more person to make a difference simply, right?
Yes.
So thank you for being here. Thank you, Mayor Lightfoot. It is an honor to have you here in the room for our Be in the Room podcast with the City Club of Chicago, as I said, in conjunction with the U.S. Conference of Mayors and WVON Radio. We are at the Blue Room from the Chicago Firehouse Restaurant, and we're so excited to have you, Mayor. We hope to have you back soon.
I will come back. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.